Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Trust the Tape. Good to see you. Hi. My name is Jeff. Last name is this. And I'm alongside my friend with a Super Bowl ring, the finest drafter of all time, and a former Cowboy scout, the great and powerful Bryan Broaddus.
Hey, Bry.
Hey, Bry.
Jeffrey, good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, we're getting ready to start this thing, and obviously I have an entire show planned, hours of content if we need it, just hours upon hours. And then Brian gets in and he goes, "Hey, Jeff, I got something to tell you that I heard over the weekend." I'm like, "You son of a biscuit. You're going to change the whole show, aren't you?" What's going on, Brian?
People over at the Cowboys are asking me, why is everybody talking about Donovan Wilson potentially not being here? Why do people feel like that Donovan Wilson's going to lose his job, or his job is in jeopardy right now, or he's going to be a June 1 cut? People are asking me that question over there from the Star.
Oh,
they're starting to hear, I guess.
Who you've been hanging out with is talking about Donovan Wilson. Who's been trying to cut Donovan? I tried to give away his starting job last year, but it didn't work out, so I quit.
Well, there were some people, when you various platforms, and I know that I'm on a ton of them. I know with Vach, myself, whether it's with Zach Wolchuk and Eric with Love of the Star with you, we talk about the safety position. And I think we've had some discussions about Donovan Wilson. Is he playing for his job? What's the situation with Bell, Thomas, those guys? But I had somebody just flat come out and say, why is everybody talking about Donovan Wilson's job being in jeopardy? And I'm like, well, okay. Well, maybe there's some, new coaching staff. Maybe there's the previous coaching staff, Zimmerman, those guys really, really liked him. And we were on the, we were at the Rudder Room there last year at the, during training camp. Mike Zimmer and staff came out, got to talk with them ask them about the players, what they thought. And, he was very, very positive. Mike was very positive about Donovan Wilson, where maybe the previous regime, we'll see, and I was just kind of curious what this regime thought about him. We'll see. I think that, I don't think that you extend Bell, or I don't know if it's extend, but the contract offer you made to Bell, to Thomas, the tendering, whatever you have to do to get that done. You don't do that if you're not thinking about maybe there's going to be some competition there. But I had somebody come up to me and say, "Hey, listen, what's all this discussion? So I thought that was interesting, because I know I've had discussion about what is the safety position going to look like for the Dallas Cowboys. And
okay, this is an admission. This is an admission that you've been going after Donovan Wilson. You've been doing a little pocket watching. You've been trying to get him out of here.
Not pocket watching at all. Me personally, I never watch anybody's mate, because the thing about it is negotiating part of it. I just try to evaluate the players. And there's times where he plays in space. He doesn't always cover well enough, misses some tackles. He's a physical player. There's no doubt about that. But does he fit, in a cover 2 scheme, which Matt Eberflus likes to play? Can he play on the hash and play back? He's always been a guy that can kind of play downhill. So, those are the concerns that you have when you're watching a guy to try and fit into a scheme that's pretty cover two safeties on the hash, pretty heavy that way. That's why I question. That's why I thought, with Bell, Thomas is a really good cover guy, So I just am curious. I'm curious by, is it a scheme fit? But like I said, I had somebody over there at the Star tell me, listen, I don't understand all the talk.
Yeah, and a year ago, like when we saw Marquise Bell play a bunch of snaps at linebacker, I think he ended up getting a bad rap for the job that he did, and I think overall he did a really good job. But yes, a 210-pound or whatever he is, when you're running right at him, is going to be a problem. I don't think overall that he played bad football, and I was trying to get both Wanye Thomas and Marquise Bell on the field last year because I wasn't impressed with what Donovan Wilson or Malik Hooker did. And when it didn't happen last year, I guess it's just kind of been out of my brain, especially considering I think you're going to carry 4 safeties for the most part on most teams. And so I know which 4 they are. I don't think that I don't think you're going to be moving off of anybody, but I do support competition. Jeff is a meritocracy guy. If we get out to training camp and somebody outplays somebody, then hell yeah, let's make something happen. But I don't think it never crossed my mind that like his job would be in jeopardy in terms of roster, because I just don't see, like in a lot of other spots, there's not another capable body that would take that job, you know? Like it's not like there's more than 4 of them. They got 4 of them.
Yeah, I'll tell you the one that's interesting that's it's starting, that's getting that might be getting some play just in the OTA. We only get to see the one practices a week. It's the rookie Elijah Clark.
Is that the Syracuse one that got some money?
Yeah.
Getting money matters.
So he's very much been in some play. If you follow along, the Bobby Belts, the guys who are watching, Nick Harris, those guys that are reporting from training camp, they're talking about Elijah Clark getting opportunities with the 1s and with the 2s. That's encouraging for a young guy to, step right in. Yes, it's OTAs and mini camps. I tell you, the one thing you need to pay attention to is where people line up and what the coaches think about him. Maybe not necessarily how they're playing on that given day, but, are they looking at this guy as a backup free safety? Wait, why is he with the 1s right now? Whoa, that's a pretty big jump for somebody right there, just coming straight off the collegiate fields there at the old Carrier Dome and then coming on to, playing where, playing some free safety for you. So to me, when you pay a guy a significant bonus, and there's no question Elijah Clark was on their draft board into probably a pretty prominent role, probably a 5th round guy when it was all said and done. Those are the guys they go after first. He was I believe the highest. I haven't seen the money, but I've heard people talk about this, that he was the one that got the most signing bonus, most guaranteed money.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, they're not just saying, wow, there's other positions they could have given the most guaranteed money to. Safety being one of them, you're kind of like going, is there more to this?
Oh,
and that's
Brian,
what
we got a couple of them. They're going to be gone after this year is what's happening.
I just feel like, to me, that the one thing that continually changing coaching staffs does, I think it kind of F's up your team in a way. I say this in a way that players that played that were championed by previous regimes are now the liability of a new regime.
Yeah, doesn't matter anymore. Like even if you've got you some money, like both the Cowboys safeties currently are making some decent money, and new coaching staff walks in and goes, I don't care. Nesto's in the super chat taking shots at Dono because he's a legit liability in pass coverage. I believe he lost us the San Fran game. Let Kittle go for 2 TDs. I will tell you, it does not make me super happy when you see a team line up and let's say they go, 3 wide, whatever the setup is, and you watch Donovan Wilson lined up across from somebody and it doesn't look like he's going to have a lot of help.
Nope.
I pucker up a little bit. I do a little pucker. Jotman, did either of you catch Michael Irvin's thoughts about the practice he was invited to? No, I don't know what you're talking about, but I will tell Michael Irvin, if you're watching this, hit me up, brother. Not that I have a great setup, but I've seen Michael Irvin doing the YouTube thing. We got to drill down some of the deets, Mike. We got to make sure we got a mic set up. We don't need the camera going crazy. We got to, you've got the resources. We can get you set up right, Mike. I just need you to know if that's what you want to do. So you talk about people and where they're lining up, which makes me think of mostly just one guy in this whole deal, which is DaRon Bland lining up in the slot is still crazy to me. It's crazy to me, but maybe, and you tell me, is that a giant vote of optimism in Kaiir Elam, 1, and 2, that Revel is going to be absolutely ready and going to be a starter? You cannot convince me that they're lining up with Andrew Booth and feeling good.
No, I think that this is – I think there's a lot of positivity about Revel. I think there's a lot of positivity about him. He's a guy that I've heard is willing to work. He's doing everything he has to do. They were super excited about that. Elam – in the practices that we've got to watch, I keep saying that because we've only got to watch 2, but I've heard, PBUs involved, knocking down balls, stuff like that, being in position.
It's a pass breakup.
Yeah, PBUs.
Or a PD,
So
pass defended.
pass defended. So yeah, there's think the one thing is I think that they're trying to figure out who can play outside. I think they know that Bland can play outside. I think we all know that.
Sure.
And if I think the number one option would be him probably playing in the slot unless somebody shows up. He's an outstanding player. I mean, he probably doesn't want to play a bunch in the slot, but if you got a guy that, Jeff, and you know this as well as anybody, you can carry routes. That guy, that slot player, carries a lot of routes.
This is my
A
favorite.
lot.
This is my favorite Bryan thing. If you
Lot of
want
routes.
Bryan to love a player that plays corner,
Yeah,
you know the most important thing?
carry routes.
When that sucker runs across the field, can you get with him? You
Yeah.
on your horse and on his butt?
Mhm.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite. That's my favorite
Yeah.
Bryan cornerism. It's just
Yeah.
as soon as I see, and now every time I watch tape, I watch a guy start a drag route, and if that corner's with him the whole way, I'm like, Bryan's
Yeah.
on this dude.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing with
yeah.
Ravel. Ravel, that's the way he plays, the length and his ability to run and to close and those things. So, yeah, if you get me a corner that can carry routes inside and make plays, or if the ball's caught and make a tackle for a 3-4 yard gain, you got my attention right there. It's how many plays are made with receivers running away from corners and then say a 6-yard pass turns into a 20-yard pass because you don't have a guy that can play the ball or make a tackle right there.
Yeah.
So that's big for me.
Well, I just want to warn the Cowboys, okay? And keep in mind now. It's a compliment sandwich kind of coming at you. Keep in mind now, I gave you an A for your draft. I think you had a nice draft, Cowboys. I think you did a good job picking from the top of your board. That's what we like to do. I like that. If you are banking on Kaiir Elam and Savone Revel to be your outside starting corners at the beginning of the season, I think you're getting out over your skis and having a little too much optimism in both regards. That's all.
Better than Booth, maybe.
Sure. Yeah. But what would be better than that is just figure out somebody to play the slot and let DaRon Bland play football. Like I don't get it.
No,
Like,
fine. I mean, they're just right now they want to see. They've just talking to people at practice. They've run several guys through that slot possibility. You need guys like you need somebody like Butler or Carson, somebody like that to step up. I know people have talked about Izzy playing in there. Izzy had the one really good game against Tampa in the playoffs where, he's gotten some work there. So I don't think we're finished there. But if the old proverbial, if we had to play tomorrow statement, if they play Bland in the slot.
all right, Booth gonna give up 350 and 4 tutties, and we're just gonna be like, well, yeah, it
Booth
happened.
might not be the outside guy.
I'm gonna fight the Cowboys because now this is my new one. Every year I feel like there's at least one thing before we get to camp where I'm like, what are you doing? And right now it is, what are you doing at corner? And it sucks because 2 months from now, you'll be probably really good at corner if you have a healthy Revel and a healthy, if you have a healthy Diggs in a couple of months. Like suddenly you do have it, but we're going to start the season. And I'm like, damn, you can't trade for something or sign something for Jeff's mental health to make me feel better about week 1. But no, we're just going, okay, that's what we got.
I see Samuel ask a question here about run defense. Can I have a moment of your time talk about run defense?
Sure.
And ask you a question about run defense?
Yeah, the answer is it's not going to be very good.
Why do you think it's not going to be very good?
Because I just still don't think you have the horses. I think you got
and I'm not saying I don't disagree with you or agree.
No,
I'm just curious why. I think people have a big misconception of Dallas's problem playing run defense.
I think that the Cowboys now, their starting nose tackle is not a good NFL nose tackle. His primary backup at the moment, I'm just guessing here, is going to be a 7th round rookie. Osa is a pressure player. That's a little bit of an undersized defensive tackle. And his backup is Solomon Thomas, who's not been like, I don't think they have the horses to be a good run defense.
What do they do scheme wise?
I don't know. Like I keep getting the back and forth on stuff with Mazi. He was going to be incredible because he was going to get up the field. Then he was going to be incredible because he was going back to his job of just taking on linemen and reacting. And now I guess he's going to get to attack again. And if we're
don't focus on the tackles. Don't focus on the tackles.
What, the ends? Well, I like your optimism because I would say, yeah, your ends are going to be a light one in Micah Parsons. And I think you're going to get a lot of snaps from guys like Fowler and Ezeraku, who are also small. I don't think Cowboys, I mean, unless you're telling me you want to do a bunch of Nealand
we focus, and Turner. We focus on defensive tackle play. Look where balls are run in the NFL. Look where they're mainly on the edges. To me, when you look at Dallas, it's not always about the inside. They're not very good at edge run defense. They're not good at fill safety when it comes to playing a guy. We talk about Donovan Wilson and guys like that filling down inside. They miss sometimes at linebacker. You had guys that were getting hooked and washed and overrun. You got a corner in Diggs that really wasn't really good as a force corner. It's folks, you got to focus on really it's not about having a 342-pound defensive tackle.
I would
look, but look, you do. You have one in the 7th round that played pretty well at UCLA. Your inability, your team is built to play with the lead. That's how this team's been built. It's not built to play against a team that's going to run the football on them. It's not. We had the question about who needs to get off to a better start, the offense, the defense. Put points up. Put points up and make people chase you. That takes the running game away from you. The Saints you didn't do anything to take the running game away from the Saints last year. Detroit didn't do anything to do that. But it's not all about defensive tackle play. Go back, if you have it, the NFL.com, so go back and watch edge play. End zone. Watch the end zone of run defense. And you tell me if they did a good job of playing on the edges when it came to setting the edge, a linebacker, a safety, and a corner.
See, I thought you were going to make me feel better.
No, I'm just saying.
Feel better, but you were actually telling me don't forget the rest of them aren't good at it either.
We focus so much. We focus so much on the defensive tackles. But really go back, and if you have the ability to watch them defend the run after run after run early in the year, they weren't good on the edge. They weren't good at safety. They weren't good at linebacker enough. They had problems with guys that were playing like Clark and others, and then Diggs. Diggs is just not a force guy. So to me, when you look at run defense, we just immediately focus on, and Mazi and them weren't great.
Jordan Phillips is seared into my brain. That was the worst game I've ever seen a defensive tackle play in the NFL. Like he just got dog walked every time he was on the field. It was incredible.
Sure. But also too, there's things that you can make up for inside though, with your linebacker play, with your safety, with your corners. Yeah, it's a fascinating study if you really, really want to learn about defense. And we have time to sit down and look at it. Go back and watch the Bears play. See how Eberflus plays his front. See how he plays his linebackers. Does he get his safety from the 2 deep look? Does he get him down to their corners? Are their corners aggressive and come up and defend the run? Dallas had a real problem. It's just not defensive tackle, guys and gals. This is an edge. You get guys like, and that's why they go out and get Peyton Turner. They go out and get, and then they try and create opportunities to be stronger on the edge because they're not. That's the issue. That's why you play back. Go back and look at just go back and see what team plays the best run defense in the league, and go watch how their front 7 play. And let's check back with me, and you'll learn a lot. It's not all about the defensive tackles. That's my point.
Okay. I'm trying not to push back and fight you here, Bryan. But my follow-up question would be: are you trying to make the case that they were okay at defensive tackle?
No, but I'm saying where we focus,
Right.
Jeffrey.
Yeah, the first round pick who was supposed to fix it, blah, 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 blah. Yeah.
We're the kings of low hanging fruit.
I love a good low hanging fruit. I love that.
That's what we are. Take the time to go and listen, just go watch. Go watch if you have the opportunity in the NFL.com stuff. Go back and watch how they handled how front seven played the run early in the year and late in the year. Just go watch. You'll be like, oh wow, oh that wasn't a defensive tackle. I'm just saying we are really, really quick to say Dallas is terrible in run defense, which they're not great. But they're not great because of not just one area, but there's several areas. They got to fix several areas here. And they go out and get a guy, like I say, they go out and sign a guy like with Turner, who has a history of playing against the run. Fowler played the run better when you watched him against the Commanders last year. Played the run better.
Yeah.
So,
well, yeah.
And it's funny. Floyd thinks I'm talking at both sides. No, it's not true. I'm not at all. Because people quickly blame the defensive tackles for the bad run defense. Go watch it, Floyd. Not talking out both sides of my mouth. I'm just telling you, when you watch run defense, it's not always one area. Not with this team, it's not.
No.
You have the opportunity. You have the opportunity. Go on YouTube. Watch the game. Go watch edge play. Go watch linebacker play. Go watch how they get blocked one-on-one. How they have like their edges like go up the field and get washed, or they get hooked, and don't play off blocks, don't use their hands. Watch how the corners don't fill. Watch how the safety doesn't fill, or the safety comes up and misses. That's bad run defense right there. But people, I can see in the chat, people are talking about, the defensive tackle. No. Yeah. To me, it's the biggest low-hanging fruit we have here at the Dallas Cowboys when we start to talk about this team. They have got to get better in the front seven. And hopefully they got better with the guys that they had, with Sanborn, Murray, Leofau in another year. They draft this kid in the 7th round. We'll see. He's a 342-pound guy. Hopefully these edges, you go and you get Fowler. That's where this is really going to hinge. Just don't low hang fruit this. Well, Mazi wasn't great, but Mazi wasn't as terrible as he was 2 years ago. Just be better at your jobs out there, folks, if you really want to learn.
Yeah,
There's opportunities for you to watch. You don't have to be a former scout. You don't have to be a former scout to figure this out.
No, I understand. You can
watch.
You want to make the point that it's not just one group, but I get the way that it comes off, because my brain alarms are going off. Like, why are you defending the defensive tackle group that was atrocious? You're not.
The three technique wasn't bad.
No. He's a nice player.
The three technique wasn't bad, and the first round pick against division opponents played much better than we've seen him in the previous years.
Yeah, but I don't want to slide his scale down to he was better than the worst ever. Like,
no, I mean, I'm not. I'm just saying that we focus on one position,
right?
When the front seven as a whole, and then your corners and your safeties didn't play well enough when it came to defending the run.
Yeah.
Go watch the teams. Just go on NFL.com, find the best team playing run defense last year, and go and watch their tape if you can. Go and watch their games. You will see why they're one of the best run defensive teams. Dallas is built to play with the lead. They're built to rush the passer. They're built to have that ability to get you on the edge. So 2 years ago with Dan Quinn's last year, when their offense was really humming along and they were scoring points and teams were having to chase. And what were the Cowboys doing? They were pass rushing. This team's built the pass rush. This team's built the pass rush, and they've tried to add some run elements to it.
Yeah, even anything where you have to say that a team is built to do this certain thing, I think that just kind of exposes the fact that you're not one of the best teams. Like that, I don't think that that's good. Micah Parsons is wonderful. They have other good pass rushers, and that's great.
He will struggle his ass playing run defense.
Okay, yeah. He's not ever going to be. He's what, 250? Like he's never going to be great when you run right at him.
But we blame the defensive tackles. Just saying. Just saying.
I think
Just
is,
figure it out. I mean, to me, make yourself a smarter fan. If you have the opportunity, you can go on YouTube and watch games.
who are you actually mad at? Like who is
Jeff? I'm not. No.
We're not mad at, but who is like this? It feels like you're like, this is a campaign.
Investigate and educate. Investigate, and educate. Don't be a fan base that thinks it's just this. Educate yourself. Educate. That's all I'm saying, Jeff. Be a smarter fan. So you could when there's opportunity, you're like, well, hell, this guy in the media or this gal in the media is talking about defensive tackles when actually I watched the Saints game or I watched the Lions game or I watched this game, and man, we weren't very good playing the edge. Man, our linebackers got blocked. Our corners were nowhere to be found. Ball was getting to the edge. Dallas is one of the worst teams in the league when it came to contact beyond the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
What does that tell you? Is that just defensive tackle play?
No, it's not just defensive tackle play. I just don't think that they were pretty good campaign.
We come on our shows and talk about being better on run defense. And the first thing we talk about is defensive tackle play. Mm-hmm. First thing.
I still will. I believe that is number one. I think number one is your nose tackle is not a good NFL player, and your three technique is a nice pass rusher who's not a great run defender, and you don't have depth behind him. I think defensive tackle is number one. Mm-hmm. Like even in the case of Micah, yes, when you run at him, you're going to be able to move Micah Parsons, but he's also going to be able to make the splash plays, chasing somebody down or getting off a block or whatever. Like the defensive tackle group, I don't feel like offers you that. They don't offer you but I guess Osa as a pass rusher, but like as a run defender, I don't know that they have.
Go watch the best. Maybe one day you'll take the time to do it. I'm just saying if
I'm too lazy, Brian. I'm not going to watch. I don't
if
watch.
If you really want to be educated about your team and you have concerns, go watch those concerns and see if that's the real reason. That's all I'm saying.
I watched tape of every game they played last year. Mazi Smith was a bad NFL player.
Okay.
Osa was not a good run defender. The journeymen that they tried to bring in were all bad.
Ball on the edge. You ever see the ball go on the edge?
Yeah, I did. I don't understand though, because it's like I don't know who was running the campaign if they were great out there. That's why it's just like
no, but that's what I'm saying. I'm
just not sure where it comes from.
I'm just saying, we all talk about these defensive tackles.
Yes.
They're not good.
Yes.
I admit. No. See, you're defending yourself because you're saying that you're talking about the defensive tackle. They're bad, but we need to be talking about other positions that weren't good either. That's what all I'm trying to say is. All I'm trying to say is we focus on the defensive tackles when the edges, the linebackers, and the corners and the safeties we're just as bad. That's all I'm trying to say is because we get in this echo chamber where we talk about Mazi and defensive tackle play, and that's all we talk about with defending the run. But when you really go watch this football team, when you break it down, they had some major issues at point of attack play, whether it's at edge, linebacker, safety, corner. Yeah. They do not defend the run. But what I'm trying to say is that make ourselves a smarter fan base. Expand, like, well, wait a minute, maybe I get it, we're not good at tackle, but what's going on with Micah? What's going on with Sam Williams? What's going on with Golston? What's going on? What's going on with these guys? That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
all I'm saying. I don't disagree with you that the tackle play. I think the tackle play is part of it, but that's the one thing as a fan base we just focus on. As like the run defense is bad because of the tackles. They're not great. But look at the big picture of the defense as a whole. They don't defend the run well. And if you watch the really good run defenses in the league, you'll see the tackle play, the edge play, the linebackers, the corners say it's all married together. And the scheme will allow you have guys that are on block, they make tackles, a lot of that.
So when you see all of those things, do you think that is an Eberflus and the additions they've made fixable? Because it sounds like
it's going to have to be. That's
one of two things. You're either talking about the former coordinator or this group is just not good enough.
They got better. They got better. Zimmer made some adjustments and they started playing a little bit better. Early in the year, they weren't good. And Zimmer will tell you, it's like, well, I should have done this, should have been more assertive here, should have, I think Zimmer relied on some guys. He just took people's word for it that they could play run defense. And he had to figure it out. No, seriously.
And again, not to fight about this, they didn't give him anybody at D tackle. They didn't give him anybody. They're like, we'll just see who's in the Rolodex when camp's over. That was.
Well, then they also played Damone Clark, and they played some guys that just weren't capable. They went out and got a whole new set of linebackers. Basically, is what they've done.
Yeah,
and they went out and they added Turner, who's not a pass rusher. Nealon is a much better run player right now than he is a pass rusher.
Right.
That's what you need. That's what you're going to need. You're going to need guys as a whole playing the run better. That's my only point, Jeff. I'm just trying to say, as a fan base, educate yourself a little, keep it a little more open on, wow, I sat down, I watched that New Orleans game. Damn, they were bad on the edge. Yeah, why were they getting up the field and they were getting kicked, and linebackers? I mean, there was just the gaps, guys getting hooked. Just that, and that's the things you see, but we tend to focus on one position when you should focus on maybe three positions that they absolutely have to get better. Yeah.
All of you get it together.
Yeah.
All of you.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Hey, Brad.
Catch up with us on Thursday for the next episode of Is It the Hot Dog or Is It the Bun? In this case, the defensive tackle is my hot dog inside the bun, whereas Bryan is saying, hey, check the whole dog.
Now this is a hot dog bun.
I think it's a hot dog, too.
Because it wasn't Wagyu. Remember, you have no idea what anybody's going through.